Imagine you're a pilot with 10,000 hours. Storms, crosswinds, low visibility, all of it. But on this approach, your palms still sweat. Because if you mess up what comes next, there is no clean second try. Stay to the end, because number 1 is an airport where the runway ends at a cliff on one side and a mountain wall on the other. If you commit to that landing, you had better be right. Welcome to Pilot Scope TV. Today we're counting down 7 airports that turn routine flying into a precision test. These are places where terrain, weather, runway design, and human pressure stack up fast. Let's get into it. Number 7. Ice Runway, Antarctica. We start at the bottom of the world. In Antarctica, pilots land on runways built on compacted snow and ice, in a landscape that can erase your depth perception in seconds. In whiteout conditions, the horizon disappears and the runway edges stop looking real. And here's the part people forget. Some of these runways sit on ice over water. You're putting a heavy aircraft down on a surface that has to be inspected, rebuilt, and certified every season. If the weather shifts or the ice quality drops, you divert. Out there, the nearest alternate is still an endurance event. Number 6. Toncontín International Airport, Honduras. Toncontín sits inside a valley with mountains crowding the approach. Pilots descend steep, keep the airplane tight to the path, then swing onto final with little room to correct. You don't float. You don't hunt for the runway. You land where you plan to land. The runway is short, the environment is unforgiving, and overruns have happened. Honduras built Palmarola to take much of the larger commercial traffic, but Toncontín's reputation came from decades of get it perfect or pay for it approaches. Number 5. Courchevel Altiport, France. Courchevel is the alpine runway that looks like a prank until you see it up close. It's only 537 meters long, and it has a brutal uphill gradient around 18.6%. No instrument approach, limited visual aids, and the mountains box you in. The key detail is this: there is effectively no go-around for landings. You either touch down and stop, or you don't belong there. That's why only specially trained pilots operate into Courchevel, and why the approach is treated like a procedure, not a vibe. Number 4. Madeira International Airport, Portugal. Madeira is gorgeous, and it is not forgiving. Strong winds and gusts roll off the island, and the approach demands focus because you're squeezed between terrain and ocean. In 1977, a Boeing 727 overran the runway in heavy rain and poor conditions, killing 131 people. The response was engineering madness. Part of the runway extension was built on a platform supported by about 180 concrete columns, some roughly 70 meters tall. It's safer today than it used to be, but the wind still makes pilots earn the landing. Number 3. Princess Juliana International Airport, St. Martin. This one is famous for the wrong reason: Maho Beach. On final, aircraft pass extremely low over the sand because the runway starts right behind the shoreline. The runway is about 2,180 meters, which is workable, but it leaves less margin than people expect for heavy jets, especially with heat, weight, and wind. Now add the crowd. In 2017, a tourist died after being hit by jet blast near the fence during a departure. For pilots, it's a landing where you manage speed and glide path precisely, while knowing the ground below is packed with people who treat your job like a stunt show. Number 2. Paro International Airport, Bhutan. Paro is where aviation turns into mountain-flying chess. The airport sits high in a Himalayan valley with peaks rising up around it. There's no ILS approach to save you. Landings are visual and typically limited to daylight and good visibility. Pilots thread the valley, make late alignment changes, and commit. Only a small group of captains are certified for Paro, often described as under 50, because the training is strict and the tolerance for error is basically zero. Paro isn't about bravado. It's about discipline. Number 1. Tenzing Hillary Airport, Lukla, Nepal. This is the one that ends arguments. Lukla sits at about 9,137 feet of elevation. The runway is 527 meters long and it tilts upward with an 11.7% gradient. One end drops away into a valley, The other ends at a rock wall. There's no go-around in the usual sense. Weather can flip fast and there's no instrument landing system. Flights rely on pilots seeing what they need to see right now. The requirements are serious. Nepal's standards include extensive STOL experience, over a year operating in Nepal, and multiple supervised flights into Lukla before you're allowed to do it alone. This isn't a landing you try. This is a landing you only do when everything is lined up. So those are 7 airports where perfection isn't a flex, it's survival. Which one would you least want to fly into and why? Drop it in the comments. If you want more aviation stories that go beyond the brochure version, subscribe to Pilot Scope TV. See you in the next one.